Namaste everyone. Today we are going to look at the seventh sutra of Shiva Sutras. The question is, what is beyond the three states? Awakened state, dreaming, and deep sleep. So the sutra says, Jagrat, Swapna, Shushupta Bheda, Turya Bhoga Sambhavaha. In the distinction of deep sleep, dreaming, and waking is the source of the fullness of the fourth. The sutra is telling us, he who is aware of all three states is the supreme hero, knowing wakefulness, dreaming, and deep sleep. Each separately, Turiya, the fourth state, is attained. So Turiya, the fourth state, means supreme knowledge. The fourth state means that there is no darkness of any sort within. All the inner landscape is illuminated. No area of darkness remains. Nothing of ourselves, neither within or without, is unknown to us. The light of wakefulness makes everything visible. We know, but we do not know that we know each of these states. When we dream, we do not know that we are dreaming. We are completely identified with the dream. It is only on waking up in the morning that we realize that we were dreaming. But by the time we know it, the dream state has long gone by. Whilst we are in that state, we are not aware of it. Apart from it, because we are identified with each of the three states. In the dream world, we become the dream. By the time we realize it was a dream, we have identified ourselves with the waking state. You say, I am awake, but you have forgotten that again that very night. When we drop our identity with this state and become one with our dreams, we tend to become one with whatever appears before our eyes. But the truth is that we are actually apart from all of them. We are lost when we dream. On waking, we realize that the dream was false. So there is some element of consciousness within us that is the voyager. Waking, dreaming, and deep sleep are just stoppages along the way. As soon as we become aware of the fact that we actually stand alone and apart from the three states, then the fourth state is born within us. This separateness, this apartness is the fourth state. Mahavir has coined a very beautiful word for this state. He calls it the science of discrimination. He says that the whole science consists of making... Sorry, can everyone hear? He calls it the science of discrimination. He says that the whole science consists of making careful discriminations of spiritual secrets. And this is also what the Shiva Sutra aims at us, that we should realize that each of these states is separate. As soon as this realization dawns on us, we will also know of our separate identity. We will have learned the art of making distinctions. Right now, our mental state is such that we identify with whatever appears before us. So Osho tells us, little by little, stand apart from everything that happens around us. It is very difficult. The gap is small and hard to see. The boundaries are not clear at all. For millions of lives, we have learned to identify ourselves. We never learned disidentification. We learned to identify ourselves with every situation. We have totally forgotten the art of disidentification. And this is our unconsciousness that we have learned to identify. Osho tells us stand back a little, move step by step. It is a long journey because what has been built up over millions of lives cannot be so easily destroyed. However, it can be done. Whatever we have created is false. The Hindus call it Maya. Maya means the world which you are caught in. The world which we are caught in is false. This does not actually mean that the sun and the stars, the mountains and the trees are false. It only means that our identification with our perception of them is false. And we live with this identification, and this identification is our world. So the question is, how can we break from this association? Osho tells us, start from your waking state. When we are awake, let's start from there. Breaking only in the waking state is a slight ray of consciousness. So how can you start with dreams? It would be very difficult. And we do not know deep sleep at all because all the consciousness is lost there. So that is where your spiritual path begins, in the awakening, in the wakefulness state. That is the first step. Then the second step is the dream state, and the third step is the deep sleep. The day we complete all three steps, we will naturally have stepped into the fourth, the turiya, the state of self-realization. So let us begin with the waking state. That is the path. And that is why it is called wakefulness. Otherwise, it is not wakefulness. What kind of wakefulness can it be when we are lost in the objects and we have no awareness of our own self? Then it is only wakefulness in name. But it has been called the waking state. Actually, we have been called the Buddhas, the awakened ones. This is, however, a waking state in the sense that there is some possibility of awakening in this state. So we should start with the waking state. When we are hungry, we must always remember that it is the body that is hungry and not us. If we hurt our leg, we wash and clean the wound and apply medication. But let us try and remember that it is the body that is hurt, not us. This much remembrance, and we will find that 99% of the pain is actually vanished. This slight knowledge, this little awareness removes so much of our suffering. 1% is bound to remain because the knowledge that we are trying to acquire is not total. When knowledge becomes total, all suffering disappears. Buddha said that an awakened person is beyond suffering. You can cut off the limbs of such a person. You can throw him in the fire. You can kill him, but you cannot make him suffer because he stands apart from all that is happening around him. So Osho says, let's start with the waking state. Walk on the road, but remember that you are not walking, the body is walking. And you've never walked. How could you? The soul has no feet to walk on. The soul has no stomach. How can the soul be hungry? The soul has no desires. The desires are all of the body. The soul is desireless. Therefore, it simply cannot walk. It cannot, it's only the body that actually walks. Osho is telling us, try to keep this awareness as long as possible. Eventually, you will get a joyous experience, walking on the road with full awareness that the body is walking but not us. We will suddenly feel that we are divided into two parts. One part is walking and the other part is not walking. One part eats and the other does not eat. The Upanishads say two birds are sitting on the same tree. The one on the upper branch is quiet. It neither moves, nor cries, nor flies. It neither comes, neither goes. It only sits serenely. The one on the lower branch is very restless. It moves from one branch to another. It jumps from one fruit to another. It is very restless. Osho says both these birds are within us. We are the tree. The bird that is serene is called the witness. Jesus also says that you sleep in one bed, but there are two of you. One is dead, the other is eternal. You are the bed. When you sleep at night, within you there are both a lifeless corpse and an eternal consciousness. We need to learn to differentiate between the two, maintain the distance. This means hard work. Therefore, Osho says, start with the daytime, with the first ray of consciousness as you wake up in the morning. Start the experiment. After 1,000 attempts, perhaps one may succeed. But even if one attempt is successful, you will realize that the thousands of attempts were actually worthwhile. Even for a moment, if we come to experience that he who walks is not us, he who is unmoving is us, he who is full of desires is not us, but that he who is forever desireless is us, that which is perishable is not us, but the fountain of eternal nectar is us. Osho says, even if we become Mahavir or Buddha, even for a moment, or attain the state of Shiva, even if this knowledge dawns on us even for a moment, we will have opened the doors of supreme treasure. After that, the journey will actually become easy. After the taste, the journey is easy. All the difficulty comes before the taste. So Osho reminds us, start with the daytime, and gradually we will succeed in carrying it out through into our sleep as well. Gurdjieff used to say, teach his disciples to practice awareness during the daytime. And then he would tell them, just before going to bed, they must remember that this is a dream and you're still awake. There is no dream yet, but you have to keep repeating to yourself that everything I see is a dream. Touch the bed and intensify the feeling. Whatever I touch is but a dream. Touch one hand with the other and experience all I touch is a dream. You go to sleep sinking deep into this feeling. Then there will be a constant stream of feeling moving inside. Osho says after a few days, you will find that in the middle of the dream, you will suddenly become aware that it is but a dream. As soon as you remember that it is a dream, the dream breaks. Because the dream breaks only in the absence of consciousness. And it is at this time that you will be filled with bliss, such as you've never known before. The sleep will vanish, dreams will disappear, and a deep light will surround us. The dreams of an enlightened person disappear because in sleep he also remembers that they are just dreams. So friends, meditation is the energy turning towards oneself. And the moment energy turns inwards, you can be conscious. Even in Shushupti, in deep sleep, because in deep sleep you exist, but the world does not exist. Your attention was entangled in observing the world and our dreams. You remain unconscious even in deep sleep. Now, because of meditation, this entanglement is uprooted. We have no connection with the scene. We can be without it. When the lamp burns, it does not care whether anyone passes through its light or not. By meditation, our consciousness will turn inwards and we will be able to be awake even in deep sleep. Thank you very much. Thank you for attending today's session. If anyone has got any questions or would like to share anything, please feel free to unmute yourself and share the knowledge.
Thank you, Dineshji. It was
Thank
a
you.
wonderful and a great wisdom. Actually, although we know theoretically that we are not body, we are soul. But the way you were explaining it, actually, when you were explaining, I was just closing my eyes and I was listening it, and I could, the way the explanation was going on in a so um, simple way, I could feel as if there are two things now: body is separate and soul is there. I was able to feel that. Thank you so much for such a nice explanation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dineshji. Thank you. Yes, you really explained well. So this Turiya state, it's like a Sakshi Bhav, right?
Sakshi.
So I like the way you said how we identify ourselves with whatever we see. That is so true. We whatever we are doing, whether it is food, eating food, we are so identified with all that we forget it is the body that is doing it or the mind. But how you mentioned, like each time touch and say, this is the dream, the bed is a dream. So then you will realize the dream is dream too. And many times I wake up, and as soon as I wake up, till that moment, I know there is something going on and I'm doing something, but I wake up totally, it's gone. And so now I know that was different. That is definitely a dream, and this is real. So, which you did right before, yes, such was such. I really don't know which one is such, and everything is a dream. So obviously, we are observing whether it's dream or this. Lot to work on ourselves. Thank you for
Thank
this
you.
wisdom.
Thank you. Veronica ji, thank you very much for the comment. We close the session if anyone does not have anything more to ask or to share. So friends, thank you very much for joining this evening's session. And for those of you who are able to join tomorrow morning's session, please do so. Thank you and namaste.